All right, it's One Last Midnight. Welcome back to another episode of Grounded. So August update is out. We covered that in a video last week that showed all the new features that came out in the August creative update. And now, just recently, after the August update came out, Grounded gave us their features board, which is essentially their roadmap. And that's what we're going to look at today. Oh, and by the way, in this video, I got to warn you, big spoilers coming up ahead. So if you don't want to watch them, you might want to end the video right now. You can find a link to the feature board in the description below, but let's go ahead and cover some of the new stuff that they're looking at coming up in the next few months. Now, they had talked about releasing these kind of on a monthly terms or as they come out, or at the very least updating the featured board. You know, the big new item on this list, number one listed, is the idea of zip lines. I don't know how they're going to implement that. You know, is it that going to be something that you're going to attach to an existing building and then somehow be able to attach to a piece of grass or to a weed? Or is it going to have two posts on each end and you're going to be able to attach one post down and then attach another post down? It's a big giant mystery on how it's going to work. But I would think that you're going to have an elevated position to be able to use the zip line to get down to a lower position. The koi pond environment is the second item on the featured board list. And so the question comes up is, are they going to have a completely new environment area? Or are they going to repurpose the lake, or whatever you want to call it, the pond, the puddle that's next to the large oak tree? Unless they're going to expand the map, I don't see a way that they can squeeze in the koi pond. Maybe the parents of these kids decided to buy a bigger backyard. I have no idea, and I'm really curious as to where they're going to put this environment. I happen to have a feeling that it's going to be where the existing water is, and it's just going to be, I don't know, restructured, or some new environmental things are going to be added to it to make it look more like a pond itself. And of course, since they're saying koi pond, that means there's going to be koi fish. If you use the cheat codes and you go into creative, you can already spawn in the koi fish. It doesn't really do much, but on killing the koi fish, it does drop scales and fish bones. And so maybe possibly those are going to be used as a higher level armor or some other crafting feature that'll be coming out. You know, the next item on the list is equipment items no longer use up your backpack space. And that makes an enormous amount of sense to me. If I've got armor on, why is it sitting in my backpack when it's actually physically on my body? Same with any item that I'm using, whether it be my spear, my bow, my axe, or whatever. It shouldn't be in the backpack at that moment in time. So I'm glad they're revisiting that, because we're losing so many backpack spaces just by having to carry around the normal tools. I would like to see also some sort of belt pouch just for tools, so that those can be separated out from equipment that you put on your body, like armor. Hedge environment is also something that is listed on the features board. Now, there is a hedge already, and it does have some interesting things in it, off into the distance, very close to the house. So are they talking about, you know, maybe beefing up this area, or are they talking about a completely new hedge area, like just a bush itself, instead of a row of hedges that are along the side of the house? I don't know. That information is not out yet, but as soon as it's out, I'll let you guys know about it. The next two items on the feature board happen to do with multiplayer games, password protected games, and inviting friends. And this is pretty standard if you're on Steam or if you're on Xbox, that you have the ability to invite your friends and also protect that game so that nobody else can get in. I'm happy that they're adding this feature to the game, because it's needed. You don't want somebody wandering in the middle of your base and messing things up when they shouldn't be there. Jumping one ahead on the feature board list, we have localization for French, German, Italian, and Spanish. That's really going to make this game popular in a lot of different countries, and it's going to make it accessible for almost everybody. Now, there's two creatures that are going to be introduced. The mosquito, which can also be spawned in currently right now in the game, but it doesn't do much. And killing off the mosquito will drop a few items like blood sacks and mosquito needles. And there is also kind of a blade that is also going to be introduced, which is the mosquito needle blade, which is kind of a tier 3 blade. And you can produce it by using the mosquito beak, spider silk, and the mosquito blood sac. The other new creature that's going to be introduced is the bee. Now the bee is going to be a neutral creature. He's not going to bother you. He's going to be floating around. And there's some speculation about a new bee armor. Now there's already a rotting bee armor in the game. So introducing the bee kind of just leads to, can I get that bee armor as well? Bees will also be dropping bee stingers, bee fuzz, and possibly pollen. I'm sure there's going to be many items that you can craft from the bee resources. Can't wait to see them come out. Another item on the featured list is new water items. Now, this says water themed equipment. I'm not entirely sure what that means unless they're talking about fins or some sort of oxygen tank, something along those lines. I don't think they're talking about like toys you can play with in the water. So maybe it's going to be water specific equipment that'll help you move faster in the water, attack better in the water, or last longer in the water. In the next few months, we'll see the addition of signs and stickers that you could then turn around and decorate your base. I love this concept. I already see myself. Hopefully, this is customizable too, that I can introduce my own sticker or file into the game that I could put on the wall. That would be really nice. But I can see some signs that I might want to have already to add to my walls and or around my base. Other items on the list have to do with quality of life improvements and inventory management improvements. Both of those would be great. Some things are a little bit wonky to work with. And of course, inventory management is the necessity because gathering all those items and being able to move them easily from one place to another is going to be more helpful. Now, they did introduce some of that in August already, but hopefully they continue to expand on that concept. Along with that comes storage management improvements. So it looks like a whole new revamp of the inventory management and the storage management is coming up in the future. Additional burgle type quests were mentioned in this featured list. Now that is an item that they are actively thinking about. It's in planning stage. And so we don't know what they're going to be. There's a lot of speculation out there what they possibly could be. But I like the idea that they're introducing a lot of variety into the burgle quest system. And finally, they're talking about adding additional crafting stations. I actually really like this concept. I like the concept of possibly having crafting stations for each one of the current crafting sections in the menu. Like base building is one section. Utility items would be another section. Weapons would be another crafting station. All of these things can be put in separate crafting stations. Now, I understand that that might be somewhat of a burden to have to go to each one of those crafting stations. I'm not recommending getting rid of the existing crafting system, but it would be nice to have these crafting stations laying around so that we can have some additional base building items that we can have to look at. All right, so that was my video on the new Grounded feature board. We're gonna be staying on top of this feature board. I will be watching it actively for when it changes or when things get added or things get dropped off. If we find any kind of additional items that were leaked out, like images or concepts, I'll make sure to provide those as well in future videos. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We'd love to have you in the community. If you want to follow me on any of my social media, you can find the links in the description below and make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you know when I go live and when I post new videos. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.